seconds before you solve your first F2L, and that's because there are lots of unsolved pieces in the cube at that time because you only made your cross. So in this video we're going to be focusing on how to solve your cross along with your first pair. There are two ways to plan your first F2L along with your cross, which are the prediction method and the tracking of pieces method. Personally, I prefer the prediction method, which is why I am going to be teaching only the prediction method in this tutorial. But the prediction method is a little bit complicated than the tracking of pieces method, which is why at the end of this video I'm going to be sharing some tips to help you improve in using the prediction method for solving your first pair along with your cross. So the first thing we're going to do for this example is, let's try solving this entire cross in our mind so that we know how many moves we're going to use. And looking at this cross, its solution is going to be F, L, F. Then we are going to insert this orange back here by doing a D, L, D prime. So that's just 6 moves. So let's look for an F2L piece that's not going to be affected by this very much. And over here I chose this, green and orange. I have 2 reasons for choosing this. One, because it's at the back, which is at our advantage because we want to put our first 2 F2Ls behind so that we can have a better look ahead. And the other reason is because this is not going to be affected by our first 3 moves, which are F, L, F, but it's going to be affected by the D, L, D, because when we do a D move, it's going to bring this piece over here, and when we do an L, it's coming up here. So when we do DL, it's going to be affected. So we know that after we're done with our entire cross solution, this white of the green orange is going to be up here, but the edge is still going to be solved over here. So which means when we're done with everything, we're going to have this over here, so all we have to do is bring it over here and do a triple sexy move for behind. So let's go ahead and do it. F, L, F, D, L, D prime. Then we'll bring this over here and do the triple sexy. So here's our second example. So let's try solving this first in our mind like we did for the first case. So the solution to this cross is going to be R prime and L prime to put this and this opposites of each other, then D, R prime, so we can put this over here, then we do D2, R2 to solve the entire cross. So which F2L piece do we see here that is not going to be affected by this much? To me, I noticed these 2 first. These 2 aren't going to be affected much by this because once we do an R prime and we R prime, L prime, this is going to stay here. We do a D, it's not going to affect it. We do another R prime, it's not going to affect it too. We do our D2 and our R2, it's still not going to affect this. So these are still going to be like this, but over here. So once we're done, all we've got to do is rotate and pair it over here and insert it back here. So we still solved it back. So let's solve our cross using the same solution I came up with, which is R prime, L prime, to put these 2 opposites of each other, then a D, so we can put this over here. Like I said, it's still over here, it hasn't moved a bit. So we do D2, then R2. Then all we have to do is rotate straight into solving this.